Hello, hello. Nehemiah here, and I just wanted to quickly go over our last week of photography. We were going out on some amazing adventures, taking some really neat photos, and the subject matter of this week was all about texture and detail. So I just wanted to quickly hop on here, do a quick little video, and just talk about some tips that can help enhance your photos even more. Now, I saw a lot of you guys already doing this, so great job on that, but just wanted to go over a few things. So, getting close to your subject is really important because when we're talking about texture and detail, what better way than to get close? So, if you have a macro lens or a macro mode on your camera or your phone camera, that's a great way to capture the intricate details of your subject. And, experiment with different angles, different distances, and you can find that you might find some striking close up compositions, and you're going to find yourself taking some really neat photos. Another thing you can do is just focus on light. So natural light is something that I always recommend. I think I take some of my best texture photos outside. So you want to aim for either early morning or late afternoon. That way the light isn't too like sharp and bright and blowing out your photos. Another thing that you can do is, as the light is coming in and out, use the shadows that is casting as a way to reveal depth and just add another interesting or intriguing element to your photos. Um, and as I said earlier, just experiment with angles. When you change the perspective of a photograph, it can really change the photograph to where it feels like something completely different. And sometimes it's just a little subtle shift. Something that in my experience back in photography school, they called it a creative tilt. So sometimes people will hold their camera just straight, perfectly straight, and they tell you to just tilt it a little bit and then take your picture, and having that slight tilt can dramatically change the composition of your photo. And again, angles, shooting from above, at eye level, below, to the side, just test it out and see what looks good in your photo. And another thing you can do, if you have control over your f-stop, if you do a wide aperture or a small f-stop like 1.8, that's going to create a shallow depth of field, which will help isolate your subject by blurring out the background. So this technique works really well if you're like photographing like a single object, like a leaf or a single dewdrop, or even the textures on fabric. So when you are framing your photos and deciding what to do, consider your composition. When you're doing it, like we had said last week, something that you can do is look for patterns, look for lines, look for shapes in your subject or around your subject, and then that can add interest to your viewers. Eye. So when they see those shapes, those patterns, it can really take their eyes throughout the photo, and it just kind of helps the overall photographic design. As we're saying, like detail is key. Sometimes taking a wider shot will help you include additional context that will enhance the story of your photo. In situations like this, you probably aren't going to be doing a shallow depth of field, but maybe a higher f-stop. Maybe it's a landscape photo. Maybe you're taking a photo within a photo box to where you have that higher f-stop, but you're getting a lot of different textures and a lot of different things all together, and you're layering your elements to add that additional depth. And as you're working with things like photo boxes or backdrops, if you have like a nice table with a white cloth, maybe you could try different colored backgrounds. Maybe some textured backgrounds can help make your photos stand out. And another thing I like to do is experiment with black and white. Anybody who knows me knows my favorite way to take photographs is black and white. So most of my photographs that are my favorites, they're all black and white, and I really like that because you can emphasize texture through the contrast, and you strip away all of the distractions of the different colors. Don't get me wrong, colors can be gorgeous, they can be beautiful, and there's definitely a place for colored photos. But when you're talking about texture, sometimes having it black and white can really enhance the photo and help you see that texture even better. Um, and another thing you can do is get a tripod. Sometimes getting that fine detail can be difficult to get it like really in focus and a really nice, good detail photo because your camera's not stabilized, or maybe your hand's a little shaky, or maybe the shutter speed isn't fast enough to where it's getting a little bit of a soft focus, so to speak, to where it's not in perfect crystal clear photo, but just a little out of focus. And if you get the tripod, you can do that. Even if, say, for instance, you're using a manual camera and you're shooting at a slower shutter speed for that particular shot, because that's what you have to do. And if you're not shooting at like 80 hundredths or 100ths of a um, so I lost my train of thought. If you're not shooting fast enough, you're going to get that shake. That stability is not there. So putting it on a tripod, it's going to help a lot. I like to use a tripod for a lot of photographs, especially later in the evenings, night photography. You can get some really cool shots with texture, and a tripod is essential for that. So that's going to help you get all kinds of shots without having to worry about if your hands are moving or if your shutter speed is too slow. And then, lastly, post processing. You can use this to enhance detail as well. Maybe it's upping the clarity or adjusting the contrast, the sharpness. There's a lot of different things that you can do, include cropping. Sometimes you can zoom out a little bit more, take that photo, but then crop in for the part that you really want to bring to life. So, these are just a few thoughts of things that could help. So, yeah, consider these things, and hopefully, this will help you take some really amazing texture and detail photographs. And if you have any additional questions, please let us know. You saw the Q&A post that Stephanie had put up there, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out, drop us some questions, and we would love to talk more about it. So you guys have a wonderful day, and we will talk soon. Bye.